Good evening and welcome. I'm Lisa Rayam, your moderator for the evening. I am host and senior producer of WABE's Morning Edition. Tonight's forum is an opportunity for you to introduce yourselves to the voters in Sandy Springs and just to shed light on your platform. We need to note this is not a debate in any form or fashion. It's just an opportunity for you to let voters know who you are and what you stand for. So we're glad to have you here today. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our two panelists who will be asking the tough questions this evening. Amy Wenk, editor for Reporter Newspaper, and Tammy Joyner, democracy reporter for the Atlanta Civic Circle. We're glad to have both of you this evening. Before we begin, we'd like you, the District 6 candidates, to introduce yourselves. You'll have 1 minute. Please note you are being timed very closely. You see that little blue timer on the screen there, counting down the seconds for you. Jeff Howe, I'd like to begin with you. Please tell us who you are.
Well, thank you, Lisa. My name is Jeff Howe. I've been married to my lovely wife, Margaret, for 40 years. We have 3 grown children. From a career perspective, I've been Executive Vice President and Chief Revenue Officer for 3 Fortune 500 companies. My responsibilities in those particular roles, I've had the pleasure and responsibility of managing profit and loss revenue streams of the billions of dollars. I've had to recruit, train, and develop cross-functional national teams up to 1,500 people. I'm a firm believer in servant leadership. Throughout my entire career, I've had the opportunity to be on the Ronald McDonald House board. I've also been on 2 credit unions that were really focused for low-income individuals to either improve their credit scores or apply credit. In addition to that, I've been a trustee for our parish. Now is my time to give back to the community. I'm doing this not for the salary or any proposed benefits. I'm running on 4 things: keep us safe, maintain our neighborhoods, smart traffic planning, and holding the light on taxes.
Thank you, Jeff Howe. Andy Bauman, tell us who you are.
Thank you. And I want to say good evening. Thank you to the hosts, moderators, and especially all the viewers who've tuned in tonight. My wife, Dr. Debbie Bauman, and I came to Sandy Springs as young professionals more than 20 years ago after attending the Emory University. We have worked here. We've raised our children here. We've supported the arts and our great nonprofits here, and we attend Temple Sinai here. I have met many of you through coaching kids sports at NYO, or at some of our amazing dance and theater programs, or on Saturday mornings over the years at the Sandy Springs Farmers Market, which I founded back in 2010. Above all, it's been my highest honor and privilege to represent you these past 8 years on our city council, and I am proud of the role I have played not only in our city's growth, but in support for our first responders, advocate for our natural resources, and responsible stewardship of our tax dollars. I hope I've earned your continued trust and support as I seek one final term on the city council. Thank you.
Andy Bauman, thank you. Jeff Howe, thank you both for being here and telling us a little bit about yourselves. Now for the forum, you'll be asked a total of 2 questions by our panelists, and then I'll ask one based on questions the public submitted in advance. Each of you will have 1 minute to answer each question. We'll start with Amy. Amy?
Thank you. Mr. Bauman, what is the biggest issue facing District 6 and how will you address it?
Well, listen, our top priority from the get-go is stated in our charter. It's the health, safety, and welfare of our community. And that starts with support for our first responders, police, fire, and EMT. And this is very personal. We are all well aware of the situation with escalating crime in Buckhead, and we touch Buckhead. But I really want to, move past that. I have an established record of support for our police with the raises and the headquarters. But I'll give you a quick example. Our fire department responded to a house fire, and the neighbors were so thrilled and grateful. They did a fundraiser for grills for all our fire station. So really our top priority is always going to be support for our first responders in health, safety, and welfare of our community. There's a lot of other issues, but that's number 1.
Thank you. And Mr. Howe, what do you think is the top issue in your district and how will you address it?
Well, over the last month, I've had the opportunity to actually knock on over, I can tell you the exact number, 1,243 doors. And I've had literally hundreds of conversations with the residents within District 6. And the more I talk to them, it's always interesting. People will tell you exactly what they feel and what they think when they're on the front porch. And clearly, the biggest issue that I hear in this particular order, when they start to feel the effect and the insecurity of safety, particularly coming from Atlanta through Buckhead, it's in the paper. A lot of residents have actually told me of specific incidences. Now, we have a great police force. We have a great fire force too. And I think if we continue to support those particular safety issues, to make sure that we have a safety within the districts will be really, really important. The other area that's second to that is continuing to preserve our neighborhoods. People like where they live. They like the quality of life and the lifestyle that brings in those neighborhoods.
Thank you.
Thank you both for answering that question. Tammy Joyner will have the next round. Tammy?
Thank you. What steps would you take to preserve the diversity of housing in your district? And this question, I'll pose it to Mr. Bauman.
Well, I'll be happy to go first again. Actually, District 6 has some of the most naturally affordable housing in it in the area around the Prado. I think it's incumbent that housing continue to be made available and be made available in a safe, clean way. The issue of affordable housing is not just at the low end. It's really permeating through all ends of the market through and through home ownership and the so-called missing middle. But we need to be one stakeholder in the process. The government cannot and should not do it alone. There are stakeholders, there are market-based solutions. I am very proud to be the one. I've heard a lot of talk tonight about first responder housing for the surplus houses we bought. That was my proposal that I made that was accepted and adopted by the city council over 5 years ago. So I think we just need to be creative, and I'm proud of my creative ideas on this and other topics.
Thank you. Mr. Howe, same question. What steps would you take to preserve the diversity of housing in your district?
Well, we are fortunate within District 6 to have that proportion of affordable housing as it exists today. And I think every community really needs to have affordable housing, particularly for Sandy Springs. But I think at the same time, going forward, to be able to provide that without destroying the existing neighborhoods, I think there's really an opportunity as we look forward, not only within the district, but within the 6 and within the city. How do we move forward as a city council to ensure that we can provide that type of housing in the proper areas without disturbing our neighborhoods? I do think, however, that whether it's an existing apartment complex, I think there's an opportunity to do some rent subsidies that would help in those particular areas. I also think in some of the development areas, whether it's in the north end, the existing shopping centers with some mixed use that could help that type. I don't necessarily support, however, that residents provide the subsidies for those particular types of housing properties.
Thank you.
Thank you both. This next question is from the public. Are you in favor of adopting similar zoning changes that Atlanta is currently proposing, such as reducing minimum lot requirements and allowing more accessory dwelling units? Are you in favor of adopting similar zoning changes that Atlanta is currently proposing, such as reducing minimum lot requirements and allowing more accessory dwelling units? Mr. Howe, will begin with you this round.
I'm a very direct person. The answer to that question is no, and I will explain to you as to why. Some of those requirements are really going to be literally changing the environment and the neighborhoods in which we live in. When you take a look at the high density housing that's being proposed in the city of Atlanta, beyond the fact that it's going to change the neighborhood substantially, people buy in neighborhoods for a number of reasons. Number one, it's probably an investment and it's a quality of life. But beyond the density of the housing, there are a lot of other factors that will literally change communities and specific area neighborhoods, and it could affect in many different ways. So it's too aggressive, and I'm not for it, and I want to preserve our neighborhoods as they exist.
Thank you. Mr. Bauman, please answer the question. Are you in favor of adopting similar zoning changes that Atlanta is currently proposing, such as reducing minimum lot requirements and allowing more accessory dwelling units?
No, we're not going to build our way out of the problem we've got. And in Sandy Springs, we have, it was created on a compact with its great neighborhoods. It's been a very diverse community. And we, unlike some of the other communities on the north end of the city, the metro area, have 4 MARTA stations. We need to be integrating public transportation with housing. And District 6 is just not that area to do it. We've gone through a large zoning process, a comp plan that includes hundreds of citizens. The city works best when it works with the involvement and input of all of its citizens. And our next 10 had hundreds upon hundreds of people involved, representing all sorts of points of view. I think we need to be careful with that. We have enough trouble right now with Airbnb, short-term rentals, party houses, that we need to go very, very cautious, and we can let it be the experiment, and while we look and see how that goes.
Thank you very much. Andy Bauman, Jeff Howe, our 2 candidates for District 6. That concludes the District 6 forum. We want to thank you both for being here and sharing your views this evening. We appreciate that. I would like to give you both 30 seconds for closing remarks. Jeff Howe, will begin with you.
Thank you. What do residents want? They want us to trust the capabilities and leadership of their council members. They want their concerns to be heard, and they want to have the best city to live in overall. Why I'm running? I've got a successful business career. I'm a problem solver. I seek solutions. I have no preconceived agenda. I'm doing this because I want to give back to the community. Some may say, why change leadership? I acknowledge members of the council who have served. I applaud that, but I also think change is a good thing for qualified individuals.
Thank you very much, Jeff Howe, Andy Bauman. Thank you so much. Your candidates for the District 6, thank you so much for joining us again. We appreciate it. At this time, we ask that—
I get 30 seconds?
No, we have to say so long, but thank you so much.
I don't get a closing statement? Lisa?
Did he not do it? I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun. I thought you went first. My apologies. You do get 30 seconds. 32, because it was my mistake.
No, it's quite all right. Listen, I genuinely love living in Sandy Springs. I've worked and served not just in my retirement, which has not occurred yet, but I've served throughout. I'm the guy that started the farmers market. I've raised our family here, and I can't be more proud of my public service. In fact, I think I'm well known for constituent service. There's a political consultant that lives in our district who's well known, who actually has sent me a text of my great constituent service. So I ask for your vote for one more time so that I can continue our important work, not just for my children, but for all children.
Thank you so much, Andy. It's the dinging. Maybe that's throwing me off, but thank you so much for your closing remarks. Thank you both for being here. Thank you for joining us. That concludes the District 6 forum.